One of the first questions that you guys ask us is how do DDoS attacks specifically cause harm to the parties that are involved? We could name off a long list of different risks that are involved, but a couple major ones are the online platform becomes unreachable to the company or the users who are trying to access the website. Next is could be a loss of confidential data from the company where they could lose very valuable data. There could be a loss of productivity. If the website is down and the company is very dependent on their computers, then basically the workers are just halted and they cannot continue the work, which results in profit losses for the company. There could be a turnover decline, especially if the attack is on a online shopping website, such as like Amazon, where these turnover declines are the company has to hold onto its inventory because they're not able to see who needs their inventory and they can't get it out, which also results in profit cuts for the company. Or more simply, the reputation of the website and or company could be damaged because now they know people and users are now know that they cannot have confidence in the website that they can protect against attacks or any other kind. So their own possible information that they may have put in there is at risk as well. The next question you ask is the harm great enough to warrant the illegalizing of disruptive protests online? Well, the American government had issued the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act in 1980s, where they prohibited people from accessing a computer without authorization from the other party. Um, Basically, that people who were trying to just access other people's computers, it was deemed illegal and could result in either arrests, fines, and even potentially jail time due to the amount of the attacks or depending on what the attacker was getting from that website.
Martin Luther King Jr. said that one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Notice that he didn't say that people should disobey laws in order to publicize their convictions regarding unjust laws. Simply breaking one law in order to express your disapproval of another doesn't line up with King's philosophical claim. Civil disobedience is a philosophical concept, so specific definitions often leave a lot to be desired. But since you mentioned one in your video, I'd like to explore a more expanded definition that perhaps gives a better feel for the spirit underlying the idea of civil disobedience. The Cambridge Dictionary says that civil disobedience is the act by a group of people of refusing to obey laws or pay taxes as a peaceful way of expressing their disapproval of those laws or taxes and in order to persuade the government to change them. This definition shows more clearly that civil disobedience is performed by acting contrary to specific laws that you think should change. History has also set a precedent for what civil disobedience should look like. The goal of the Greensboro sit-ins was that the segregations policy of that specific store should change. To that end, the act of civil disobedience performed was directly related to the law that people felt was unjust. Notice that they didn't go to another part of town and make graffiti that publicized the unjust laws. Though that would have also broken a law and would have drawn attention, it would not have been breaking the law that they felt was unjust.
Now, you guys have asked us a question concerning the fact that the internet is not limited only to DDoS and other forms of disruptive online protests. While this is true, the example that you have given us is much different than DDoSing. A website shutting down their services for a limited time is done with their own consent. A form of DDoS or other disruptive online protests is done without that owner's consent. The owner of a website is freely available to shut down their website for global warming or human trafficking as you have described. My partner Joshua has brought up the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act in 1980s and how that act prohibited people from accessing the computer without the permission from the other party. This holds true in the example that you have laid out for us because DDoSing a website, like I've mentioned before, is done without the owner's consent. They don't have their permission to shut down their website, but a owner of a website can do this whenever they want, really, because they have their own consent to do this and they know the factors that go into it.